A very good morning from Easter Road as Hibs take on Celtic this lunchtime. It's all set to be a cracker with the Hibernians looking to bounce back from a disappointment in midweek against Motherwell. They're up against a Celtic side who have found form in recent weeks. Second against fourth, and the action kicks off at 12 noon. Yes, hello, welcome to the team talk here from Easter Road. My name's Gavin Rittoo, and to preview this massive tie, Hibs against Celtic, is none other than Hibs women's head coach Grant Scott. Grant, first of all, how are you?
Good, thanks, Gavin. Yeah, looking forward to the game today.
Yeah, and before we talk about the game, I think congratulations are in order. We were at the Scottish Women's Football Awards last night, and Grant picked up the Coach of the Year. Grant, just tell us about that. Does that come as a surprise, or what does it feel like to win that?
Yeah, look, you're all surprised with these things, and obviously it's a nice honour to receive, but I'm very considering of the group behind me. You know, I get to do the front bit, but I've got two coaches, and Stuart Hall and Joelle Murray, who support me every single day, backroom staff, behind the players, making sure they're fitting well to go on the field. And yeah, look, it's a personally a nice thing to receive, but it's very much a team award in my view. It's a collective that puts that team on the pitch and gets success, and that's really what's getting recognised, I think, with these awards.
Is it sometimes almost nice to look back on that? Like, there was a brilliant night last night at Hampden, but you know, it was a hugely successful year last year, winning the title and everything that comes with it. But then almost you're just straight onto, what can we do next year? What can we do next year? Is it nice to almost look back and almost, you know, take stock of what you did achieve?
I think it is. You know, you're right. The minute the victory was done last year, you know, we were all on our thoughts to the next season and where we go from there, how we progress and develop things further. So yeah, having those little moments just to pause and actually appreciate and remember what happened, and yeah, it's those celebrations are good moments to look back on.
Yeah, and it was a successful night for Hibs in general. Ailey won the Women's Player of the Year, and Joelle won the Spirit of Scottish Women's Football as well. Just a word on both of them, because both thoroughly deserving winners as well.
Yes, I think there's no question in the season that Ailey had last year. You know, another record goals tally for her, international recognition, you know, certainly an integral part of our side, whichever position we ask her to play, alongside Kathleen McGovern, who was also nominated for similar rationale. So yeah, look, those players have now proven season on season how good they are, and the fact that they're getting international call-ups fairly regularly now just shows the class that they've got, and they've developed really well at this club, and yeah, we're delighted to have them. And Joelle, you know, so many words are spoken about her as in the Scottish women's game, but again, just another you know, huge accolade for her. She is one of those originals from the infancy of the women's game here, who continues to push standards. You know, she challenges me every day. She challenges the players, but she has the other side, the soft skills, where she can encourage and just give them some information and how to carry themselves. And you know, you see that in her work every single day at the club. She's an exemplary role model for many female athletes. Yeah, definitely, and it was a hugely successful night, so well done to everybody, all the winners and all the nominees as well. And let's just talk about this season so far. 5th in the league at the moment, but it's really tight in there, and it's a really competitive league. What have you made of kind of the results and performances so far this season for the women's team? In truth, we've had a bit of a mixed bag. We've prided ourselves, particularly last season, on our consistency of performance level. Obviously, you know, we go and try and win matches. That's not changed the mentality certainly this season, but we've probably just lacked that little bit of consistency that we had, and it's not been far off. Despite the position in the league, as you say, it's very tight, and we've all got each other to play 2 or 3 times yet, so there'll be a few changes yet, but I think if we are reflecting at this point, we probably have 2, 3 or 4 halves of football, strangely, that we've probably just not hit the performance standard we would have liked. And look, there's many factors for that. We're not going to look for excuses, but it's a tough challenge now at the top, to produce 90-minute performances every week. But that's where we're striving. And
do you think the fact that, you know, you come into the season as champions, and you know everyone else kind of obviously wants to beat you and kind of knock you off your perch, does that affect preparations, or does it affect the mentality at all, or how do you see it?
It's a tricky one to answer because the reality is it shouldn't. We went to try and win every match last year, and it's the same this year. I think what's happened, the shift in the external world, is that last season we probably weren't expected to achieve what we did. We probably didn't even expect it internally at the start of the season, but as performances developed and results came, there was almost a feeling that everyone was waiting for us to trip up. That's probably slightly different now because people know that we can go the course. So probably mentally from our opposition more than ourselves, they know that they have to raise their game against us. We're not going to be knocked over easily. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. There's certainly, everyone seems to have a great game against us at this moment. So look, it's on us to rise again and overcome those challenges. But yeah, I think mentally we think we're good enough to go and try and win every game. We're not going to win every game, but that's certainly our aim each time. Yeah, definitely, and still plenty of football to be played, as you said. Yep. Time to switch our attention to the men's team. David Gray's side were in action at Motherwell in midweek. Here's a reminder of how the action panned out in that one.
These bangers are not for the faint-hearted. It's careless from Iredale, Motherwell, Maswanisi into the Hibs area. Claims again from the Motherwell fans. Nasty feeling that Motherwell are going to have an opportunity here from the penalty spot. Duncan Nicholson points to the spot. And that's Wanisi from 18 yards. Steps up, right-footed. Beats Salinger, who goes to his right. Wanisi slams it down the left-hand side.
Because at the moment we're having to drop Kieran Bowie or Martin Boyle onto one of Motherwell's sixes and allow Jamie McGrath the other, so it's been difficult. Chance
here from Motherwell, cut back, defended well. Motherwell have a second. That's an absolute catastrophe for Hibs in their own penalty area.
Probably up there with one of our best performances collectively all season on Saturday, to a shadow of that this evening so far.
I'd agree. It's over the top. Maswanisi is in behind Hanley. He's caught. Well, he certainly looked like he was caught. Is the flag up for offside again?
Could be wrong, but
well, the referee is going to his back pocket. Grant Hanley is given a red card. That's all going wrong for Hibs here tonight. They've seen precious little of the ball tonight. Nice ball through from Bowie. Martin Boyle. Well, he's got to score from there. He's gone round the defender, rolled the ball goalwards. Motherwell defender slides along the line.
Yes, it was defeat on the road at Fir Park for David Gray's side. Grant, it was a very kind of uncharacteristic performance and a result. Was it just a case of everything that could have went wrong did, essentially?
Yes, I think sometimes you get one of those anomalies in a performance that as a coach or manager you don't see coming necessarily. And I think it's twofold. Motherwell certainly executed a clever game plan. And took their opportunities really well, but I think overall I'm fairly sure the manager will be looking at his team probably unrecognisable on the night from recent performances, and sometimes that happens. I've had it myself, and you have to look at it certainly, but put it to bed fairly quickly because sometimes you can't unpick those ones. Maybe players doing strange things, unusual things, and things just not quite gelling on one particular match. So it does happen. But I think the important thing is, for me, is how the group react from that. Do they recognise that it's a bit of an anomaly and move on fairly sharp? And I think that's imperative today.
Yeah, is that very much, in your career when that's happened, is the message very much, look, analyse it, but quickly move on bounce back and go again as quickly as possible. And I guess with the fact that we've got a game almost 3 days later, that can be a big positive as well.
The best way to recover from these things is to have a game. Truthfully, you can overanalyse and unpick. Certainly, I'm sure they'll have done their homework on it and you know, picked out those errors, picked out those moments where decision making was poor, then look at their own tactics and how they've performed in the game. But having a quick turnaround quite often helps, because there's no thinking time, there's no time to wallow in what may have been or what actually happened on the day. Quick look, take your learnings and move on very, very quickly. Yeah,
definitely, and no better time to almost put that result right against potentially against Celtic this afternoon. It's set to be a cracking game.
Always a tough match, isn't it? But I think you know, we probably had something similar ourselves in the last couple of weeks, losing a derby match and then going to play the league leaders the following week, and your mentality sometimes is, yeah, could have had an easier bounce back match. But I think today, you know, Dave and the players will know exactly what's on the line, what kind of opposition they've got against them, and how tough it will be. But that really gives you focus, and I think that's all they can ask today is put on a performance more like themselves, and I'm sure they'll be fine in the game. Yeah, definitely, and we've proven in the past that we can beat Celtic here at East Road. Here's a reminder of what happened last time the two sides met here back in February.
Nicely into the path of Giantis. So Nicky Cadden outside him, Josh Campbell with a chance and scores! Hibs have the lead. Cadden nicely out to Martin Boyle. Ball whipped to the back post, it's a great delivery. And Kieran Bowie! In fact, it's not, is it Josh Campbell? The flag's up for offside. Yep, the goal's been given. Hibs lead by 2-0. Josh Campbell with a second of the afternoon.
Yes, great scenes at Easter Road. The last time Celtic were here back in February, Josh Campbell bagging a brace to get our first win over Celtic in a couple of years. Grant, the fact that we've shown that we can beat Celtic here, will the players, and it's a lot of kind of similar team that we've got out, will the players take a lot of confidence from that and you know, belief in themselves that we can do it?
I think they can. It's certainly something that they should be relying on a little bit. You know, when you have that mental edge occasionally over a team, you're going into the match not overly confident, because you know it's hard work to win matches. But I think yeah, you're right. Knowing that historically we can run Celtic close, overcome them. Certainly gives you that belief that if you didn't have it already, you know, the history shows that it can be done. There's certainly a colossal side, as we all know, but yeah, I think here the lads should be backing themselves against any opponent. Once this place gets noisy, the momentum swings in the team's favour. Yeah, they need to capitalise on the moments that they create. But it's absolutely doable, and they should take every belief from these kind of performances in the past.
Because, I mean, just kind of compare it to the women's team as well. We showed that last season, you know, beating Rangers, beating City away, that kind of stuff. Once you do almost get that monkey off the back, as say. It shows that you really can go on and win games, and it almost just kind of like lifts that bit of pressure and tension as well.
Sure, there's always a bit of nervous tension and energy before a match, and the players, but having those moments to reflect back on, and you're not conscious of them as an athlete on the day during the 90 minutes, but yeah, there's probably just that inner belief and knowing that you can continue to perform and continue to get results no matter what day, what opponent, and it's just an internal thing that should be growing in the team. The team's good enough. They've had a fantastic season last year. They've started well enough. I think probably just a bit irritated by some points they should have had, but coming into this one today, I don't believe there's anything to fear, and that's probably the biggest thing. It's a bit of belief and the no fear, and I don't think certainly the boys today should be fearing anything out there. Yeah, and this will be the second time that we played Celtic this year. It was 0-0 at Celtic Park, good clean sheet away from home. A lot's changed since then. That was under Brendan Rodgers. Now Martin O'Neill's kind of steadied the ship a wee bit. What have you made of Celtic since he's come in? I think it's an interesting, they talk about the bounce when there's a change like that. I certainly think his infectious nature, I don't know Martin personally, but just observing his behaviours, he looks an infectious type of person to be around. Certainly there's nothing he won't know about football and how to structure a team, but I think there's still a fragility in the team. They're still there or thereabouts at the top end of the league, so we can't be too down on that. But I think I think the momentum in the game today, swings that will come to and fro, will be critical. And if the boys can get in front or apply pressure when they can, you might just see those little cracks. Because look, when a manager comes in on a temporary basis, he's probably not fixing too many problems at the moment. He's probably just guiding the ship through, and there'll be uncertainty and new managers being spoken about coming in and things like that. I think it's a good chance to capitalise today. Yeah, how important is the start of the game then to kind of get the crowd on side, get everybody right up from the start, because that could make a massive difference as well. Look, we all know when this place it gets noisy and there's a real vibe around, you can see it transmit onto the players, so that start's critical. I think if the lads can apply a performance that shows real confidence, certainly try and kind of calm those nervous moments if there were any towards their own goal, get the crowd on side, you could really see a momentum shift in the game, that's I think they've got to try and do that early doors. Yeah, definitely. Right, well, not long to go until kick-off now. Time for a short break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll hear the pre-match thoughts from Raphael Salinger and David Gray. Back in a couple of minutes.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats, To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Hello, welcome back to the Team Talk here on Hibs TV. Time to get the pre-match shots from Raphael Sanger. He was on media duties earlier this week.
And in terms of catching the eye of the national team back in Austria, if you look at games like games against Celtic, the games that are on television, that are live, are they higher profile matches that are maybe more likely for people to pay attention back home?
For me not, because I have to do the best I can in every game, but maybe for them it's more publicity and everything, and it's on TV. I don't know, but the league doesn't get decided in one game, so there are a couple of games to play, and I just wanna make sure that I'm performing well in every game.
Yes, that was Hibs goalkeeper Raphael Sanger speaking to the media earlier this week. Grant, how impressed have you been with Sanger since he's come into the team this season?
Very impressed. I think he obviously came in the summer and has had to bide his time. But like every player in every squad, you don't know when their moment's going to be, but he's come in and taken his opportunity, and I think you can see the security and consistency of save making, decision making, and composure he's given to the boys at the back. So yeah, he's done really well since breaking into the team. Yeah,
and how difficult is it for a goalkeeper in the sense that you only really get one chance, and when you do get it, you kind of have to take it, and he's shown with some of his performances that he's brilliant and really kind of relish stepping up into the first team.
Yeah, look, it's a really strange position on the field. I think it's such a difficult mentally it must be a difficult game for the goalkeepers, because they're really waiting for their best mate at times to slip up or just have a form loss. But yeah, look, he's a huge presence in there, and I think the consistency, as I said, and security he's given the boys at the back, knowing that he's there. He's very commanding, great stature. It's a good impact he's made since coming in. Yeah, definitely.
He's 5 clean sheets in 12 games so far, and including that clean sheet against Celtic. We just saw a few clips of there as well. How important is it that he's on form today? Because when you play Celtic, you're bound to kind of give up a few chances, and you do need your goalkeeper to be at their best.
Yeah, they need to be ready. I think any keeper in that situation knows that they come up against a top side that it's only natural you're going to concede a few opportunities. So I think keeping the sharpness that we've seen, his reactions look good, and just making consistent decisions will hopefully settle the boys at the back and give them the platform to progress in the game.
He mentioned just in his press conference with the media there that Austria have qualified for the World Cup, and he's played, I think, under 21s, under 19s with the Austrian national team. There's quite a few boys who've been away with their international countries and could be at the World Cup. Do you think that'll just be another kind of carrot or incentive to try and push into that squad for him?
I think it's the same for every player. When there's a target there for them, it incentivises them to push on further if they can, but certainly maintain a consistency level that keeps the focus on their performances, and national managers are obviously across all of that stuff all of the time. So yeah, why not? I think you'll have a chance. I'm sure there can be a lot of better goalkeepers out there. So yeah, hopefully he keeps progressing the way he has been and churning out the performances. Yeah, and fingers crossed we can get another big performance out of Raphael Sanger later today. Right, not long to go until kick-off. Time to get the pre-match shots from David Gray, who's been speaking to Adam Tomlinson.
Dave, we're speaking ahead of this weekend's game against Celtic. Firstly, how's the aftermath been following Tuesday night?
I think we've quickly moved on now. I think straight away after the game, the disappointment's there. We're in the next day anyway, so we're able to go over the debrief, looking at the game. And it's not something I've had to do very often in the last year, to be honest, but highlight what we think went wrong and how it felt in the game, and the biggest frustration from my point of view was the fact that it was just very unlike us. It wasn't the way we've, the standards we've set in terms of the way we play. We got, I think, pulled into a way of playing that doesn't suit the way we are, and we got punished for that on the night. Moving forward, you can't then dwell on it. So once the debrief's happened, everyone says their piece, and we move on very quickly and looking at how can you bounce back. And for me, there's not a better game to do that than at home against Celtic, a real difficult test, but one the players should look forward to as a test themselves against good players, and take confidence from some of the performances we've put in against them already. And a home game at Easter Road, sell out, it'll be a brilliant atmosphere to play in, and the players should thrive on that.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned moving on to Celtic and focus changing very quickly. How have they changed, obviously now under the guidance of Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, someone you know very well? Yeah,
they've had some obviously very positive results, no more so than last night. Winning away in Europe's not something they've been as consistently doing, so to go and do that was a massive result for them last night, which is good for Scottish football as well. And I think the test, regardless of who the manager is, the coaching staff, they've got very good players that have got a way of playing that a lot of the players are used to winning games of football as well. So we know the challenge is going to be there. If it is to be their last game is in charge, with Martin O'Neill's last game, we want to make sure it doesn't end on a high. And I'm sure he'll want to be the opposite. But that's the challenge for us and the challenge for the players, to make sure we start the game as well as we can, on the front foot, and try and put Tuesday night right on Sunday.
Yeah, you got a point, obviously, at Celtic Park earlier this year, a really positive result at Easter Road last season as well. How can both of those games really add that extra confidence and belief into the group?
Well, that's the key word for me. Belief is the big one. You need to believe you can go into the game and win. The players have demonstrated already this season that we weren't as maybe free-flowing going forward in that game when you think back to some of our recent games against Celtic. But defensively very good. There's probably a bit more of a balance as to could we carry more of a threat. I certainly think we'll see that at the weekend. And the belief will be in the players to make sure, and the game plan will be there to make sure we go and give everything we possibly can to win the game. And I think that should be all the belief the players need. And as I've already said, it's a brilliant game for the players to test themselves. And I think with it being an early kick-off, live on the telly, full house, no better atmosphere to go and play in.
Yeah, you mentioned full house, obviously back at Easter Road. How helpful is it from your perspective to have Hibs fans in all four stands at the ground? Yeah,
I think it's great. I think it just shows you how far the football club's come. The level of support that it's been incredible. When you think back to even this season alone, forget about all the rest of the time at my time at the football club, but this season, all the games in Europe, the expense that comes with that, it's a very expensive day out for families and for things, for supporters to support a team, and they certainly come out in their numbers, and we're going to need them to do that again on Sunday to get right behind the team, because they play such a massive part on hopefully getting us over the line on a positive result.
Just finally then, how are we looking in terms of team news?
So team news, picked up a little bit of a niggle with Junior Hoylett. He went away with his national team. He's been involved the last couple of games, but there's a wee niggle that hasn't been going away, and Junior being Junior says he's fine and wants to keep going. We sent him for a bit of a precautionary scan, and as a result of that we probably need to take him out for up to a week maximum. It's just to make sure we don't take a risk with him at this stage, and he's a bit disappointed with that, but I think that's just on the medical advice to make sure we do that. So he won't be available this weekend. Rudy Molotnikov's still out, but everybody else is back and available.
Fantastic. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yes, that was David Gray speaking to Adam Tomlinson ahead of today's match against Celtic. Grant, I just wanted to ask you, what was your kind of relationship like with David Gray? Because I know you often see at the training ground, sharing kind of best practice and having different conversations. What have you made of him as a manager, and how do you get on with him?
Yeah, I got on reasonably well. I think as a person in the building, he's always there for a word. Very open. Certainly has helped us if we need access to different, things around training facility or information, and as you say, share some practices, and very, very happy for us to observe some of the things that they're doing at the first team, for example. So yeah, look, we have a good working relationship. We don't need to see each other every day, but moments of conversation, or even off the back of a poor performance or result, we'll often kind of catch each other in the corridor and just share a few moments and stuff. So look, I think I like the way he carries himself around the place. He's got real presence, real aura, I think that, you know, it shows in his leadership qualities. He seems very calm and measured most of the time, probably similar way to how I would like to work. So yeah, really good guy to work around.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of his like demeanour and you know, being calm and stuff like that. Often a phrase that he uses or people use about him is that he never gets too high when it's going well, and never gets too low when it's going not so well. Is that something that you kind of try and take into your approach as a manager as well?
100%. I think if you, as a leader, you got to try and balance out your whole group, staff, players, fan base. You know, I don't have as big certainly as Dave has, but I think if you're too erratic in your behaviours, I think it just gives uncertainty to the people around you, which direction you're going next. So yeah, it's definitely something I would do. That's definitely how I work. But I get the feeling from Dave that he's very similar, because if you start getting too wild when in those high moments and too low, you'll never be able to pick your group up. And I think, you know, he said a lot of things after midweek that yeah, it was a kind of unrecognisable performance, so let's put it to bed and move on. Yeah, definitely. And how do you see this one panning out today? How important is it that we do get a reaction from midweek? I think so. I don't think the guys will need any other motivation than Celtic coming here today. It's a good day, early kick-off on TV. I think that if you need to call it a bounce-back game, which I don't think it is, I think we just need to perform and do our best in the game. But you couldn't have it any better way than it is today. And if I was going to press you for a score prediction, what would you go for? I probably, if we can squeeze a victory, a single goal victory would be incredible. I don't think a draw is the worst result in the world. You know, quite often you're not expected to take things from Celtic and Rangers, for example, of old. But certainly the lads are capable of winning here, and I think that should be the focus. Cool, yeah, right. Well, Grant saying Hibs win by 1 goal. Let us know on Twitter and Instagram what your score predictions are. I'm afraid that is all we've got time for. Grant, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks very much for watching at home. It's now time to pass you over to our lead commentary, which is Cliff Pike. Thanks very much again, and we'll see you all very soon.